Now, if you're prepared to witness how the Drake A Wish Foundation circus is attempting to announce a tour following a week of turmoil and drama, here it is. Finally, a complete tour was cancelled as a result of Drake and his team's deceit and lying. Don't forget to subscribe and like. And it's going to be awful considering what we're going to examine and talk about today. Drake has now failed to finish the shows he pledged to start, regardless of how anyone chooses to interpret this. Since Drake's special gigs for Yours With, Party Next Door are already suffering, some people will not enjoy this, and it will be an emotional experience for them. Given this, it appears that no one is interested in purchasing tickets for these performances, and they are already beginning to cancel and rearrange their dates and schedule in an effort to avert the inevitable that Drake will soon run out of shows, of course. Now, aside from the current chaos of Spice shows, Lubry wishes that everyone who is enamored with Kendrick Lamar would come out toned participate in OVO-themed karaoke. Before we can understand how much difficulty it is, let's look at Drake's first public failure, which occurred at the beginning of his I'm Frightened of Kendrick Lamar World Tour. Currently, Drake wants you to forget about the more than 50 songs he released prior to the Iceman rollout. However, we can examine his previous unsuccessful tour before examining his current unsuccessful tour with the Anita Max Win series of shows. Unfortunately, let's go back to that. Drake was seen strolling around with holes in his hoodies after the tour was over. Attempt to thwart Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl halftime performance. Because, once more, this is how sane and logical people react to this, which is obviously the case with this. Things have become a lot worse there, and I'm not even sure how this could have happened. As we recall, Drake had so little movement during this run of events that, after Kendrick's transformation of rap music and the art form at the Super Bowl, he struggled so much that, quote-unquote, he postponed the last 4 shows there. However, they specifically stated that this trip was, instead of being cancelled, it was just rescheduled for a later time. Since the travel logistics for a tour that they had to arrange months in advance were not able to be worked out. This is Drake, of course, so it makes sense. Naturally, we previously made fun of this when we heard this nonsense story. As we witnessed, this meant that Drake was not able to move audiences and pack venues the way he truly desired. Naturally, he just fled and immediately returned to hiding. Now, fast forward to after the OVO stands, when Lubry fans were attempting to persuade us that Drake A Wish would return to these performances and perform strange giveaways as fans sang his karaoke, and he simply walked up and down on stage like the legendary robber he is. Finally, I can tell them all with complete formality and certainty that this will never happen again. And now, Drake and his team attempted to discreetly cancel the tickets that the few individuals who had been carrying these Drake tickets for months had been carrying. However, they are currently traveling for another round of performances. Following the declaration that these last 4 Anita Max victory shows will never take place, this is an excellent one. Let's read the statement on behalf of Drake and OVO, which states directly from the crash report that despite great efforts to find a solution, rescheduling within the required time frame was not possible. These arenas set aside days for this and received nothing in return. They continued by saying that Drake is still determined to come back and do these events whenever his schedule allows. Furthermore, it is clear from this that Drake will never be unless Kendrick Lamar drops another diss track that makes him hide out on the other side of the world. He will be back here for the remainder of his career. With all of this chaos, keep in mind that these last performances were cancelled on February 28th, and everyone didn't find out until 5 months later what would happen to their tickets. Overall, we're basically witnessing a lot of what Drake and OVO represent, which is true for the majority of musicians who are passionate about their work, and consequently, their followers and listeners. The majority of artists, however, would never expose their followers in this way and actually leave them in doubt regarding these tickets. Things they have lying around with no date on them, and they are unable to do anything with them except wait for a reimbursement. Well, Drake isn't like this. And in reality, his actions have become the epitome of incompetence in the entertainment sector. Now, instead of just running away from it and canceling the tour, you should do it the way you did. which included never really facing the reality of your failure and never telling anyone. After escaping here and hyping up that this was your first tour back in this setting for the first time in nearly 10 years, people up front that the festivities that these few people who chose not to attend were apparently looking forward to would not happen. Having said that, if you're a Drake fan right now, I wish I could feel sorry for you, but I'm not, because you can see Kendrick Lamar later this year and his performance will be far superior. But really, at least for the devoted police officers who have endured a full year and more at this juncture, the fall-off is the worst in hip-hop history in terms of legacy. Now, after standing by and helping someone up to this point, you've apparently not only do you no longer enjoy rap music, but you're also endorsing the most mediocre and uninteresting songs for him. You've distanced yourself from the reality of rap and the very philosophy that makes it possible. Now that Drake has lost everything else he ever had going for him, the only thing keeping him moving forward is his devoted following, even today. Drake is still treating them badly and isn't being transparent or professional at all. Really, I'm not sure how you can defend this person, because all you're doing is dragging this out and then trying to keep the cancellation a secret and hope no one notices or takes it. You must attempt to perform better than this. And Drake, we will not overlook this because, as you promised, we will follow through this time and expose you for what you truly are. A clown and a liar who lies about everything and even disregards the goodwill of his own fans in order to further his own self-centered and petty interests. Once more, I will say this to all of the Draco wishers who are sitting here and are tired of me ignoring the whole mess he made and this. We've never seen fall off look worse. First of all, Drake is the one who consistently fails at these things. So talk to him about this. However, whether you want to say that these shows were cancelled because of low ticket sales, which I don't think was the case exactly, I do believe that it was because Drake didn't want to deal with the optics of playing in a stadium that was only half or even 3/4 full, and that the tickets were up for sale. Now, you might say that it was this, and I do believe that, in part, Drake became sluggish during this tour and wanted to return home and flee after realizing that he would prefer to work as an influencer for a short time, rather than attempt to compete with Kendrick Lamar and the king of rap. To be honest, it doesn't matter what you want to see or what you want to think since Drake cancelled, and the message was already given. In any case, given the facts of why these shows were cancelled and what we currently know, I do believe that the truth lies somewhere in both of these areas, if not more. And what, in the end, I believe was the decisive factor in Drake's decision to never return here, and finally pursuing it for these current shows that he is performing. He would only perform at venues where he believed he would always be successful. The SS4U is essentially a reflection of Kendrick Lamar's global fame and acceptability, which skyrocketed following the Super Bowl and elevated hip-hop to new heights. Additionally, Luther's run was particularly noteworthy, particularly in light of Nokia's success as one of the largest #1 songs in recent memory and Kendrick's overwhelming victory. Drake has simultaneously been engaging in these cliched old karaoke evenings in a place that he obviously didn't want to be in. And he just went there in a desperate attempt to escape the Super Bowl. Overall, I believe Kendrick Lamar can add another victory to his resume because he essentially stopped people from wasting their time at these dull karaoke events and helped Drake realize that there was no purpose in embarrassing himself with these performances. However, between Drake and OVO's constant losses, carelessness, and sloth, we are truly witnessing the full impact of everything that has transpired here, demonstrating that we now live in a world where no matter how, if you choose to believe it, Drake has cancelled a tour for no other reason than that he is lazy, afraid of the real world, and doesn't give a damn about the fans who are truly out there. Furthermore, is Drake attempting to conceal all of this while embarking on another Party Next Door tour? All things considered, this should serve as a reminder that Drake is completely indifferent to his fan base. Furthermore, you're essentially just a number to him when it comes to gaining his fans' attention or time. And he doesn't give a damn about your movements, what it takes to get to one of these shows, or what you might need to do to get a ticket at all. And when you contrast this with Kendrick Lamar, who not only shows up to his shows but also gives them everything he has, while also uniting a fan base that is stronger than ever by traveling everywhere and simply getting people to come together and celebrate what they love and a powerful musical culture. To sum up, I can simply state that Kendrick Lamar has broken records in Drake's hometown for the GNX tour. Drake, meanwhile, simply had to cancel. Because things became so awful, there was yet another run of shows. I'll ask it one more time. Don't tell me who won the beef again, even though many Drake supporters won't appreciate this. Now that you have mentioned all of this, please let me know. How do you feel about the most recent episode of Chaos with Drake? Regarding these cancellations, what are your thoughts? And what do you believe will occur next? Because it's obvious that this falloff will never stop. Additionally, I'm eager to hear Jim's thoughts on everything. Finally, if you watch the entire video, please remember to subscribe and like it. It's really helpful to me. And if you're curious about how Drake did so badly on the charts just before this, know that Kendrick Lamar and Tyler, the Creator, demonstrated that they are maybe leading rap into a new golden era. Watch the recommended video.